Hello Silver Stackers, Silver Shepherd here, and in today's video I will be going over 3 silver stacking tips that I have from my time of stacking. Now, I've been stacking for, a huge amount of time, but I have picked up some good tips from other people or just from going through experiences myself. So I'll be laying them all out here for you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to enter the silver giveaway once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So, the quicker we get that, the quicker you guys get some free silver. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to avoid high premium coins. Now, a super high premium coin is something like the American Eagle. It is denominated at $1 and has an insanely high premium. It's probably the second highest premium that I know of, the highest being the Mexican Libertad. But these have awesome design but are very inefficient for cost. Now, something with a low premium is something like the generic Buffalo round. Any round really does do the job. They have a bunch of different, like Sunshine Minting, Golden State Minting, and any generic type of silver has very low premiums and are very good if you want to bring your overall cost down while adding ounces to your stack. Another one would be something like bars. Now, they have anything from a gram bar all the way up to 1,000 ounces. Bars are just humps of silver, and that makes it very low cost compared to something like the American Eagle, because that's actually government backed and everything like that. The higher in ounces you go, typically the lower premium it is. So you get 10 ounce, it'll be a lower premium than the 5 ounce. And it just keeps going up like that. So if you want to go very cost efficient, definitely go generic silver, silver bars, things like that. Now, junk silver can also be low premium at times. Sometimes, like during Corona and stuff, it had a very high premium, which was obviously not very good if you were trying to build up your junk silver stack. But junk silver sometimes can be very good for if you want to go low premium, or if you just want to be able to buy things often. These are $2.50 right now, whereas these Canadian maples are $36 or $37, and then these are $34, $35. So you can get very cheap, but you can also again spend $42 on a Libertad or $38, $39 on something like the American Eagle. So you want to pick that very wisely, especially whenever you're building up your foundation. My next best tip would be to diversify. Now, I did say at the beginning, steer clear away from something like this, but once you get your stack going and everything like that, you want to buy some of these just because these are government-backed, very hard to fake. They're denominated at $1 in the very, very, very rare chance that silver ever completely goes down and isn't worth anything. It's still worth $1, and that's also like the maple leaf. It is denominated at 5 Canadian dollars. So yeah, $5 right there. Those are very good for if silver hits nothing, but also just good things to stack because they're very recognizable. You'll always be able to sell those. Also, dimes are very good for you to pick up because they're very divisible. It takes 14 of these to get to an ounce or $1.40 face value of any type of coin. This is way easier to break up in an SHTF situation. If you only have things like these and you want to buy something that costs $1, you can't just take scissors and cut a piece out and then be like, hey, here's this. That doesn't make any sense. If you have dimes and stuff, well, these are worth $2.50. So this is way easier to be able to pay for something that costs $1 or, $5 even. It just takes 2 of these. Although you want bigger ones for something if you need, obviously something more expensive. These are way easier than carrying around, thousands of dimes and stuff like that. $half are good. They're a bit bigger, and these are worth like $12 around in silver value. Those are also good if, divisibility, very good. Lower premium than if you were to buy half-ounce rounds or things like that. So diversification make sure you have many different types of silver or gold, same thing, hedging against inflation, or just having your back for the time ever comes if you need to sell or you need a barter in a SHTF situation. So junk silver, 90% silver, very useful, but also silver rounds and coins and bars are also very useful in those situations. Another reason why you might want to have something like junk silver is because these are all US minted, which means these are pretty much never ever faked or replicated, just because there's serious penalties for people who do that type of stuff. And it's also just very, very difficult, whereas something like the American Eagle has been faked before. It's still a very bad thing, but it's still more possible and still, done. The Maple Leaf, now they're taking precautions against it with, the lines and the tiny leaf with the mint date. But these coins have been around for forever. They're very hard to fake. And you can always tell just with how they look, whether they're fake or not, and everything like that. So these are very good at protecting yourself against fraud, where sometimes something like the Buffalo might not, just because there's not very much fraud protection. They just say 1 troy ounce, 99 and fine, and everything like that, where, they don't have the mini leaf, kind of like the maple leaf, and they're not, government backed, where there's serious precaution taken in order to prevent replicas and things like that. The last tip I have is to find deals. Online bullion dealers like SD Bullion, APMEX, and everything like that, if you go on their page, there's a deals tab. Click on that. You can find deals for everything, for junk silver, rounds, silver pieces, gold pieces, anything like that. You can find spot deals, especially if you sign up on APMEX. You can get a gram of gold at spot and a silver round, specifically the Buffalo, at spot, which right now is about $32 for the Buffalo and $104, I want to say, for the 1 gram of gold. So being able to find cheap silver like that at spot, or any type of deal, just lowers the overall spending that you're putting towards silver. Now, let's say you bought the 1 ounce silver round at spot. That's $32. Let's say you only had 35. Then you can buy a dime to go with it. Whereas if you just bought, the Buffalo in general is 35, well, you get, although it's very little less silver, it's still less silver than if you bought that. So being able to hunt and find, good deals for yourself, for your stack, are always very good things to look out for. Make sure that you're spending over what it takes to get the free shipping, just because, that's another thing that you get to tack on to the overall price. And, that all that stuff lowers the overall cost that you're spending to build your stack. And that's very important whenever we're trying to, save money, build our stacks, and keep everything going in an orderly fashion. You don't want to be spending, these are already $38 after shipping. You don't want to be spending $43 for just American Eagle. You want to be spending $38. And that brings me to my next point of never pay with your credit card or debit card. You always want to send in a check, pay with ACH transfer, or wire the money, because if you pay with credit card, it's going to cost you even more money than what it would be regularly. And then if you do that, it costs you more money, and then you pay for shipping, and that's even more. So it doesn't make sense to, use credit card or things like that. So hunt deals, pay with the cheapest thing you can. They offer check, wire, Bitcoin, credit, and debit card. Don't do Bitcoin, don't do credit and debit card. Choose check, choose wire transfer. And, your overall cost will be lowered. And you'll be much happier in the end, because you'll be able to save that extra money, put it towards more silver, and everything like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe, just so we can get to that giveaway a bit quicker. I'm almost 1/10 of the way there. To celebrate, I'm thinking about maybe getting a 1/10 of an ounce gold piece. Just, help myself get there It makes it a bit more fun. I can make content on that. So yeah, make sure to comment down below any videos that you want to see, what you thought about this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.